That was great. Congratulations. It's my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Rachel Hanna Pocock, who is selected and honored by the members of her class as their speaker for today's ceremony. She will speak to us on behalf of the graduating class of 2017. Dr. Pocock.
Thank you for the introduction, Dean Stevens, and thank you to my class for giving me the honor of speaking today. I'm excited to welcome our family and friends to Glenn Memorial. Our journey started here in the same space with our white coat ceremony almost 4 years ago, or for some of us 5, 6, or 7 years ago. Unbelievably, we can now call ourselves doctors. Starting today and forever after, colleagues, patients, and even family members will view us differently. They will look to us for answers, and then we will look for someone who actually knows the answer. But in all seriousness, the ground beneath us is about to shake. And as we assume new identities, our priorities will change. For years, GPAs, evaluations, and board scores have defined us. And these rites of passage were essential, but they made it hard at times to find meaning in our work. We were spread very thin. By day, we ran up and down the wards, taking patient histories, convincing ourselves we heard heart murmurs, and trying to help our teams without slowing them down. And then by night, we squeezed in studying and volunteering and research. Through it all, we tried fiercely to remain close to friends and connected to family. It was exhausting. But things are about to change. Well, not the exhausted part. But everything else will change because there are no grades in residency, no written evaluations in practice, aside from Yelp, of course. Now our motivation will have to come from within. That makes this transition a liberation, but a harrowing one. The choice of how to spend ourselves will finally be ours. An evening of intense study will not be inspired by a looming MBME exam, but instead by the pressing question of a new patient. We will finally have the freedom to focus on our purpose, caring for people. With this shift, we can take a step back and ask, how can we build careers that not only bring us professional satisfaction, but that also have a lasting impact? You'll be shocked to learn that I have not found the answer to that question in a textbook or even in UWorld. On this issue, as on so many others, my greatest insights came from a patient. In fact, it is a patient whom I've never met, but one I will always remember, Ruthie Lemming. Ruthie's brother, Rod, wrote a memoir called A Little Way of Ruthie Lemming. I read it just before starting medical school. Rod is like us, an overachiever. As the memoir begins, he's an ambitious journalist living in Philadelphia, far from home, pursuing a public life that he hopes will bring fulfillment and affect thousands of lives. Meanwhile, his sister Ruthie is a school teacher, living where they both grew up in the small Louisiana town of St. Francisville. She's also a dedicated mother of 3, a wife, and a sister. At age 40, Ruthie is diagnosed with an aggressive lung cancer. As Rod chronicles her treatment and ultimate death, we learn of Ruthie's impact on her community as a teacher and neighbor. And we slowly come to see that Ruthie's little way is what Rod has been trying to achieve as a prize-winning journalist over 1,000 miles away. It dawns on him and on us that Ruthie has been the one leading a life of meaning and accomplishment all along. Though from the outside it looks modest, if not even mediocre, Ruthie's life is extraordinary and courageous. She has a positive impact on every member of her community, by treating each one with a quiet kindness and respect. In Rod's evocative phrase, she lives a life of hidden grandeur. And so when Ruthie becomes ill, her friends bring over casseroles, drive her kids to school, and clean her house, out of gratitude, not necessity. For without letters by her name or plaques on her wall, she has transformed their lives. Ruthie's little way was actually quite big, and so was her impact. She was not the mayor of St. Francisville, nor was she the wealthiest person in town, and the point is not that those individuals couldn't achieve greatness themselves, but that Ruthie could just as well. That's the lesson of her life. Rich or struggling, credentialed or powerful or not, we can have the greatest impact simply and only by being the best versions of ourselves. I aspire to be like Ruthie as a primary care physician. I will never cure cancer, and I probably won't run a hospital, though nothing's off the table. But I will try to find my own little way. And in my case, that means promoting health and treating illness from within a community. Now, achieving security in my career choice was not simple. Just like Ruthie's decision to stay in St. Francisville was probably more complex than we'd ever give her credit for. Over the past 4 years, you and I have inhabited a world that equates test-taking skills with intelligence and the competitiveness of a field with its value. When I decided as a second-year student to pursue a career in primary care, I was surprised to encounter resistance. People said things like, "You will be miserable. Why would you want to do that?" Or, "God bless you." One person even told me, "You have the scores and the skin for dermatology, you should definitely do that." And that comment marked the last time I would take advice from my fiance. Luckily though, I was surrounded by more than a few classmates and mentors sitting behind me and in front of me today who encouraged me to pursue the career that best aligned with my values and goals. They urged me to find my own little way, whether it passed through the halls of prestige or not. So I hope you will find a moment to ask yourself, what will be my little way? For some of us, it will be pursuing tenure at a med school or a seat at the board table. For others, it will be serving in community practice. Here's the point. There is no single path to meaning and impact. But we would all do well to use our skills to build a community like St. Francisville. One where all physicians are equal with each other and with all their neighbors. A community where our performance metrics line up with our values. Because as Ruthie's life reminds us, we sometimes don't know just how much good a person has done, no matter how ordinary their life or career might seem. Think back to your own mentors during medical school. Whose little way meant the most to you? What qualities made that person so important in your life? Already it seems clear that the virtues of excellence as a doctor cannot be read off of a person's CV. No, the qualities defining a truly great physician are more subtle. How well we listen, how humbly we approach a puzzling diagnosis, and whether we treat every patient and colleague with kindness and respect. And unsurprisingly, the greatest physicians across every field are already in on the secret. I could hear that in the words of Dr. J. Willis Hurst, in a quote that is read to every internal medicine resident as they start their training at Emory. Dr. Hurst was a department chair of medicine here at Emory and one of the most influential cardiologists in the world. He wrote, "Patients rarely ask which medical school you graduated from or where you worked as a house officer. Patients don't seem to worry about those things. They judge you in quite another way. They understand if you are kind and thoughtful to them and their families. They can sense if you care about them, and that is how they judge you." In short, the qualities that define great physicians are the same qualities that defined Ruthie Lemming. So as we leave here today, freshly minted doctors with exciting careers ahead of us, let us never forget the power of our own little ways. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2017.